on YouTube. Yeah, yeah. All right, we are live on YouTube. Lots of wind. Oh man, it's a windy day today out here on the trail. We are live on YouTube. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Eli, the Walking with Purpose live edition, live from the San Francisco Bay Trail here in Redwood City, California. It's 70 degrees. It's 70 degrees. The weather is great. It's just windy. We've got probably about, 10 to 15 mile per hour wind. So hopefully the windscreen's doing a good job and you're able to hear me. Wow. Oh man, I did not expect. I think that's Ramon that just pulled in the trail, my buddy Ramon. That comes on this trail quite often. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge today because it is windy. And the mic's going to be flopping all over my face. I got a great topic for you folks here today. And we're going to get that just a few. We're going to be talking about whatever is meant to happen will happen. The rest doesn't matter. Nothing else matters, really. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. I got people popping off the trail here. Let me cut across here because there are a couple of senior citizens and I don't want to freak them out with the video, Whatever I can do to, be good to people while I'm in public. That's the kind of guy that I am. Whew, man. I hope you've all had a great day. In case you missed it, I did a in-studio stream from the main channel earlier today. Go check it out. I shared the link to the stream on the community tab here on GNA2. Genuine Live Personal Development channel. The stream was done on the main channel, GNA Genuine Personal Development, so check it out. I shared an interesting story along with a great topic that everyone can learn and benefit from. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Check it out. Go to the channel there if you're already subscribed. If you don't know about the channel, go below in the description. You'll see it there, or just go to the community tab here on GNA2 and click the link directly to the video. And then make sure you subscribe and bang the bell and select the notifications while you're there. Hello, Buyer Repair Guy Raleigh. I support Eli. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that, Raleigh. I'm really beginning to have a lot of faith in you. I think a lot of the things that you've tried to share with me over the years, you had good intentions, so I appreciate that. Look at this. Yeah, it's a little overcast. There's no rain in the forecast. It is like 70 degrees. Probably right now I'm on the trail. It feels like it's about maybe 65. It's because of the wind. The wind is coming right off the water and making it feel a little cooler, or actually making it a little cooler. So, but it's all good. Don't need a jacket yet. It's still technically summer. So today I'm going to be talking about whatever is meant to happen will happen. The rest doesn't matter. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. The rest doesn't matter. And as I always do here within my streams and videos, I hope you can hear me, folks, because check this out. Look, I'll give you an idea of how windy it is. You can see how windy it is. And without this windscreen on my headset mic, you wouldn't hear a damn thing. On the way back, the wind will be hitting my back, so it'll be a little bit easier. But anyway, so I always use myself for example purposes. Justin Emo Hollingwolf. Hello, everyone. Hello, Justin. Welcome to the channel. Welcome. I always like to use myself as the example. Wow, this wind is pretty strong right now. I always like to use myself for example purposes. So, you know, when it comes to whatever it's meant to happen for me, I'm going to share things that I've experienced, things that I've succeeded at, things that I failed at, things that I'm still in progress on, right? And the main thing is, you know, being a full-time YouTuber for the last 6.5 years, and, you know, not having a whole lot to show for it. There's a lot of truth to that. And for whatever reason, that my efforts out here have not been more successful than they have been. The truth of the matter is, it just wasn't meant to be yet. That doesn't mean it will never be meant to be. The time hasn't come yet. And that's the way that you have to look at things and keep it positive. Whatever is meant to happen to your life, I firmly believe will happen. I believe in God and the good Lord Jesus Christ, and I know most people out here do. Now, I know some people don't believe, and that's okay. Like I've always said, if you don't believe, I still love you, but most people do believe. And most people that do believe understand that God has a plan for everyone. And your plan has been set in stone. It's been written. God already knows what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, right? And again, if something hasn't happened yet, that doesn't mean it wasn't meant to be. It just means it hasn't been the right time yet. And if you've been trying to make something happen for a while and it hasn't happened, you have a couple choices. You can shift gears and do something else, or you can keep pushing forward. Change it up a little bit. Rethink things. Revamp things. And I've done that many times. Especially if you believe in yourself like I do, and you believe in your purpose, and you believe in what you're doing, you should never give up on your purpose. Even if what you're trying to create through your purpose hasn't come to fruition yet. Give me a second here. And here's the thing, when it comes to whatever's meant to happen will happen. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters at all. No one else or nothing else can get in the way of whatever's meant to be. You know, out here on YouTube, you got a lot of, funny, miserable, just deranged people that are lonely and have nothing better to do than to troll people like they've been trolling me for years, right? And I'm using this for example purposes to say that, look, not even they matter. They don't matter. Because what matters is what's written in the stars for me, what's written in the stars for you, what's already meant to happen. It will either happen at some point or it just won't happen. And if it hasn't happened yet, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the future, which is what I'm trying to say. Right? But again, at some point, if you've been trying to make something happen that you're passionate about and it just hasn't happened, you have a couple options. You can shift gears to something else, or you can keep pushing forward. I've chosen to keep pushing forward because I'm not a quitter. I believe in myself and I believe in my vision and in my message. And nothing or no one is ever going to get in the way of me getting my message out. No one can take this away from me besides myself. Hi, Tia. How you doing? Yeah, Tia, do me a favor. Can you do me a favor? You know how to moderate the chat. Can you moderate the chat also as well, please? I think you know what needs to be removed, and don't even think twice. If you make a mistake, I'll correct it. But you know how to handle it, right? It's a little windy out here today. Can you hear me okay, Tia? There's a lot of wind hitting me on my mic right now, but I've got the windscreen on, so you should still be able to hear me okay for the most part. Yep, no problem, she says. Thank you, Tia. Appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it's just one of those windy days out here on the trail today. You know, in my life, I put my heart and soul into everything I do. Even past relationships I've had, I put my heart and soul into them. And obviously, they ended up not working out. But there's a reason why they didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be with those women. It was meant for me to be with the woman I'm with right now, my girlfriend Dawn. And see, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about my girlfriend Dawn or thinks about me, right? Because nothing else matters besides whatever's meant to be for you, right? And anyone else that is close to you, right? Like a significant other, right? All that matters is if her and I are meant to be, and we are meant to be, right? No one else can define that besides myself, the other person, and God, right? So, for another example, and I'm sorry I have to keep using this for example purposes, if you have trolls and haters on the internet that are clowning you, or clowning your girlfriend, or, you know, trash talking you and saying that you're not meant to be, it doesn't matter. They don't matter. When it comes to whatever's meant to be, all that matters is what's meant to be, not what other people think is meant for you, right? It's whatever actually is meant to be by a higher power I believe to be God. And even the good Lord Jesus Christ. Yeah, just a tiny bit of wind can still hear good. Thank you. Well, there's more than a tiny bit of wind, but the windscreen is doing a good job of canceling out about 85 to 90% of it because there's some big gusts. But as we get further into the trail here, it'll start to subside. I know this trail very well. And on the way back, the wind's going to be hitting my back, so it's going to be a lot easier. I'm going to do the full trail today because I've got the time to do it. I got everything else done at home. It's interesting, lately Dawn has been sleeping during the day and she's been awake at night. And so sometimes I'm up half the night with her and we're working on stuff while she's awake. Her sleeping pattern is off because of her medication and stuff like that. And she also has night terrors. So she also has night terrors, and she was taking off her night terror medication because we feel it was affecting her eyesight. So the terrors are back a little bit. It's a little bit comical. I love my woman, don't get me wrong, but it reminds me of the song with the Romantics, right? You know, I hear the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your sleep. When you close your eyes and you go to sleep, beep, beep. You tell me that you want me. You tell me that you need me. You tell me that you love me. But I know that I'm right, 'cause I hear it in the night. And I hear the secrets that you keep. When you're talking in your sleep, I hear the secrets that you keep. When you're talking in your sleep. I told Dawn a while back when I first encountered her night terrors, I said, and I played the song, because we have Amazon Music Unlimited and we have the Echo Dot in the house, and I have Apple CarPlay in the car and all that, so we just, tell, Alexa for the Echo Dot, or Hey Siri, play this song, right? So I'm like, Hey Siri, play the Romantics when you're talking in your sleep. Yeah. All right, we should be a lot better now. Tia's laughing hysterically because she knows that's pretty funny. It's funny when my girlfriend has night terrors and then we sing her the song by the Romantics. I hear the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your sleep. I mean, I'll tell you this. I would never do this to Dawn. I love Dawn so much. But if I ever record her while she's having night terrors and made a YouTube video on that, that shit would go viral. But I would never do that to my woman. I would never sell her out like that. I would never sell out like that. I'm not a sellout. Now, I know there are other people on this platform that would sell out like that. But that's not how we are, you know. She got a good kick out of that when I played her that romantic song regarding her night terrors. Well, that, you know, we call us regular people call them nightmares, right? Like Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Nightmares. But the proper medical term, the doctors call it night terrors. And that's what the medication says on it for night terrors. I think it's called like Prozazin or something. That shit works. It has side effects. Right? So what do? Do you use the Prozazin? The night terrors go away. That's all good. But then your woman's blind as a bat. What do? Right? You got to balance it out, right? Oh. By the way, Tia, Donna sent me a message on Facebook earlier today. I may be adding her to the group. She's from the UK. You know, she's been around here for a while. I may be adding her to the GNA Women's Mastery Empowerment support group with you, Dawn, and Sandra Palacio and Queen. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. She messaged me letting me know that, you know, she supports us and she hopes Dawn is doing well, but she hasn't been able to make a lot of the streams because of the time difference. So I was telling her, hopefully I can get some more shows done early in the morning. I'm going to try to start doing some morning shows from the studio and then a walk in the afternoon. Additionally, I want to create some pre-recorded videos for the main channel as well. There's a huge content strategy that I have coming up. Plus, I want to do podcasting. I want to interview people one-on-one. You know, I'm working on, you know, getting the right people for that. I'm kind of in a rebuilding process right now, reconnecting with a lot of wonderful entrepreneurs that I actually met in person all over Northern California. It's just taking time to reconnect because it's been so long since I've talked with many of them. And I'm also simulcasting the in-studio streams on Facebook as well. So, more's coming. More is coming. Oh. So, yeah, you know, whatever is meant to happen will just happen. Regarding your relationships, regarding your marriages, regarding any jobs that you have. You know, I've just been hearing a lot of stuff happening on YouTube lately. Like this is a good example here to share with people because I'm a big part of the YouTube community. I know YouTube very well. I'm not trying to say that the rest of you don't know YouTube well, but like I practically live on this platform. I know the ins and outs. And, you know, years ago I connected with all the prominent channels, the YouTube self-help channels and media channels and stuff like that, right? And, you know, there's been a big thing, you know, since the beginning of the year here in 2024. A lot of YouTubers burning out and a lot of companies that hired a lot of people for their media companies to help them create content are now laying off people or firing people. And there's a channel out here called Think Media run by a guy named Sean Cannell. I greatly respect him. He's 40 years old, from Las Vegas, originally from Washington, here on the West Coast. And he hired a bunch of great people to help him get his business going, right? And recently, he had to let some of them go. And for whatever reason, maybe budget cuts or other reasons, but here's what happens. And honestly, I understand this. There's a guy named Nolan Molt who was working for Think Media for quite some time. And he ended up getting fired 3 months ago. And then he basically went on his channel and shared his sob story, which everyone's going to do that, right? Trying to rebuild his thing. And, he was saying, I just had my second kid. I got 2 small children under 2 years old. I got a wife at home to take care of, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So what's the real reason why you got fired from Think Media? Is it because there wasn't enough payroll? That's a possibility. Maybe Sean, sales are down and Sean can't afford to have you on the payroll anymore. But I don't think that's what the real reason is. What happens to a lot of people is they get hired by a company like that because they were lacking personal development, they were lacking social skills, they were lacking the ability to speak, do public speaking. Even Nolan Molt has been saying, I have ADHD. I've watched a bunch of his videos on his channel because I've been fascinated by the story, right? And I've seen this happen to many, many people that have worked for other prominent creators, right? They get hired by the prominent creator. They work for the prominent creator for a few years at least, sometimes more than a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years. And then they either quit or they get fired. Why? Because after a while, when you learn the business, when you build your self-confidence working for someone else that's teaching you the ropes, right? And then you're creating a bunch of content and you're seeing how much money it's making them, and you get a small cut out of that, you're like, oh, I'm doing all this work for Think Media. I make, all these videos that have made Think Media $500,000 in ad revenue, and out of that, I've only gotten like 10 grand or 20 grand out of it. So, when you're working for somebody else and you're doing the work for them, you're getting paid a salary, right? And you started working for them because you were shy initially, you didn't know the business that well, you were learning, right? So Sean takes you under his wings, trains you to be the best employee possible. Now you're a superstar. You're almost as good as Sean, right? Now you keep creating these videos and you see how much money it's making the company, and you're only getting maybe 2% of that, right? Or 5% of that, right? And you're thinking, well, what if I did this all on my own channel and took the $500,000 for myself instead of getting 20 grand out of that or 10 grand out of that, right? And that's just the way things go. That's just the way things go sometimes. Like, whatever is meant to happen will happen. I shared that story because whatever is meant to happen will happen. Nolan Molt, in this case, had he never worked for Sean Cannell and Think Media, would have never learned the business well enough to be running a successful channel on his own right now. Now, he's got like 19K subs. He's grown from like 10K subs. But he started selling programs. He started to sell. I saw one of his latest videos, Nolan Molt, with 19K subs. He said he made 100K over the last 3 months selling like programs, like what do you call it? Training programs, and how do you call it? Just training programs, either video or online programs that you can take and learn stuff, right? And YouTube coaching and stuff like that, right? So where did he learn to do that? He learned that from Sean Cannell, right? He learned that from Think Media, specifically Sean Cannell, who basically is Think Media. Him and his wife own it. Obviously, you're going to be co-owners with your wife, just like Dawn and I both own this business here in the GNA, because she's going to be my future wife. But we don't see Sean's wife a lot. She's behind the scenes running payroll and other stuff, right? Running the numbers. Sean's the front man and the main guy. No disrespect to his wife. She does a lot, and I respect what she does. But Sean Cannell is Think Media. He taught Nolan everything that Nolan knows. And Sean's been taking this quite well. I've been following the story. Lots of other creators have been talking about it, and a few people have interviewed Sean, and he hasn't really gone into great detail. And Nolan hasn't said anything about the situation. He said, oh, my former employer. And then he said a few times, I worked for Think Media and this and that. He was very, very careful with his words. And that's cool. I can respect that, because Sean Cannell's a good guy. I don't think Sean Cannell would sue him or anything. I think Sean Cannell's the kind of guy that's like, hey, you know what? And actually, there was an interview done with Sean Cannell by another channel a few months ago. And yeah, they were kind of talking about this, but not directly about Nolan. They were talking about, hey, running a media company and having to hire and fire people. And Sean's like, hey, you know what? Some people come and go, and sometimes you got to make decisions that are not easy, right? And sometimes, you train people to be as good as you, and then they want to go do their own thing. Yeah. Is that a bad thing? No. But the thing nowadays with the internet, it makes it very easy for people to say, hey, you know what? You taught me how to help you run your business and make you more money on YouTube. So now I understand how to make money on YouTube without you. So now I'm going to take what I learned from you, leave, and do it on my own. It's real easy to do that nowadays, because the internet allows you to do that from your own home, right? But in the real world, it wasn't as easy before the internet, because, you couldn't just, no one had the money to just lease office space and, go through all the mumbo jumbo required to run your own business as a brick and mortar, meaning, at a building. But nowadays, anyone can start a YouTube channel and you're automatically in business, right? So Sean understands that, and he basically embraces it. He's like, hey, people are going to come and go, and I wish them nothing but the best. And I'm not worried about the competition. I'm focused on doing what I need to do for Think Media. And like, I'm hearing this, and I'm like, dude, Sean, you've got a good wife that I swear to God, his wife keeps him in check. Because Dawn keeps me in check, and honestly, I need that. And look, when you've got a good woman in your life, she's going to keep you grounded and keep you in check. Just like you're going to do the same thing for her. I'm sure he keeps her in check too. But when it comes to Sean losing his shit over, business deals gone bad, I'm sure his wife, is there for him to lean on her shoulder at that point, and she calms him down, and he handles it professionally. And I respect that. I respect that. That's great teamwork. That's absolutely great teamwork. And again, like I've said in the past, the person that you're dating or you're married to is your teammate. You're not in competition with your significant other. You're on the same team. So nothing wrong with Sean leaning on his wife's shoulders at times, just like she's going to lean on his shoulders at times, right? Nothing wrong with that. There have been many times over the last year or so where, you know, I was dealing with some stuff on YouTube, right? And I was just ready to lose my shit. How's it going?
You're walking faster than I'm jogging.
Oh, no, I don't think so. That's Ramon. And Dawn was able to bring me down. That's what a good woman does. A lot of what's kept me grounded to really start turning things around here and staying focused is my woman's keeping me grounded. Now, don't get me wrong. She has her moments too, and I ground her too. We ground each other. But when it comes to this stuff, like, I lean on her shoulder. And nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Sean sounds like a good guy. Yeah, no, Sean is a good guy, Tia. Sean is a good guy. And, you know, Sean's like, yeah, you know, best of luck to him. You know, he learned while he was here. You know, or people that have worked for him learned while they were there, and whatever they want to do, no problem. Sean's the kind of guy like I used to be. He works on the handshake, you know, the handshake deal, right, Tia? And I used to be like that, but I've been screwed so many times out here on YouTube, like right now. If I'm going to do something major with anyone, it's going to have a contract, a legally binding contract. Now, if I'm going to do an interview with somebody on their channel, not a big deal. You don't need a contract for that. You're going on their channel, you bring them on yours, you do a 1 or 2 hour interview to promote each other. That's like a collaboration. There's no contract required for that. But, you know, if you're going to do work for somebody, like create videos for them or edit videos for them or whatever, right? Or design shirts for them or whatever, right? Design merch for them or whatever, right? You got to have a clearly written and legally binding contract. And if you're dealing with proprietary stuff, you got to have non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. You got to have all that stuff in place, or you will get screwed. Yeah, the wind in this area is not as bad. And on the way back, when I hit the windy area, it's going to be hitting my back. I know this trail really, really well. So again, you know, whatever's meant to happen will happen, right? You don't have to worry about anything. I used to worry about stuff, right? I used to be concerned. Even about other people out here on YouTube. I'm not concerned anymore because, you know, whatever's meant to be with them will happen to them too. Right? Let me say goodbye to him. Have a good one, man.
American record going for a world record now.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. You're looking good, man. Take it easy, all right? Yeah, Ramon's looking good, man. Ramon lost a lot of weight. Good for him, man. Good for you, Ramon. One of these days, I'll get with Ramon and interview him. I have his email. No one's coming. Let's hit the observation deck just for a little bit here. And the truth of the matter is this. I've been learning a lot over the years on YouTube. You don't need a huge following to be successful. You need to find 5 or 10 decent people and work with them regularly, consistently, and let the world see how well you all work together. And then things will just take off on their own, right? So, I've also learned that, hey, you know what? I've got 24 people here right now. That's a lot less than I used to get, right? But when I was getting those numbers, what kind of content was I talking about? I was calling out people that were coming at me on YouTube. It was stupid, right? Now, some of it had to be done, because I wanted people to know what's going on. But after a while, it's like, how much more do you need to, go at it, right? You don't. You don't. So to me, having 23 people here right now, not a big deal, right? Only 1 or 2 are talking, not a big deal. Whatever is meant to be is meant to be. Whatever's meant to happen will happen, right? May not happen today, may not happen tomorrow, may not happen next week. May not even happen next month. May not even happen this year, but it might happen at the beginning of 2025 or the middle of 2025, right? And all I have to say to people out there that are trying to build something is focus on your purpose. Focus on your purpose. And focus on what you're passionate about, because your passion and your purpose will carry you through the slow times. Look at that. I cannot complain. I cannot complain. We are at 43 minutes, so I've been up for about 3 minutes. I did almost 2 miles in 20 minutes while stopping and stuff. That's not bad. Not bad. I love coming out here and walking this trail. It's amazing. Like you feel like you're so far away. Look at this angle. It feels like, the exit is so far away, but it's not really that far. But it's far away enough that gives you the feeling like you're getting away from it all, right? Just for an hour or two, right? It breaks the monotony, right? So, we talked about some business examples regarding whatever's meant to happen will happen. We talked about some personal examples, right? I talked about my experience on YouTube. Been doing this 6.5 years. And still got a ways to go. Still building it. Rebranded and working on a major rebrand. And yes, the numbers are down, as to be expected. That's what happens when you rebuild. It's like you're starting over. But you're starting over with experience. And you still have some core people around that you're starting over with. One of them is Utia. Thank you so much for that. Another one is Sandra Palacio. I haven't seen her in a little while, but I know she's around. I hope Sandra's doing okay. I haven't heard from her in a little bit. Queen Helen Casey's on Twitter. I see her posting all the time, so she's doing well. Dawn, I live with, she's fine. She's resting right now because she's been up at night, in the middle of the night. So I get up with her and we do some cleaning in the middle of the night. Like, I'll take a nap after dinner and stuff, and we'll watch some Netflix or Hulu or whatever, right? Right now we're watching the Lacey Peterson story on Netflix. It's a new show or new mini series documentary on the Scott Peterson situation. We watched part 1 last night. Dawn and I'll watch part 2 and maybe part 3 tonight. And then she'll go to sleep for a little bit, and I'll go to sleep for a little bit, and we'll both wake up in the middle of the night because she'll wake up because her sleeping pattern is like opposite now, daytime, right? And so then we'll get some work done. Then I'll take another 4-hour nap or so. And then she'll still be up. And then once I get up, then she'll go back to sleep. Tia says, I was like that too, always worrying. Now I learned to care about myself more. I empathize with others and would go out of my way to help, but much is out of my control. What happens, you deal with. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tia. You can't allow yourself to worry about things that are out of your control. What's the point? What's that going to do? You got to focus on the things that you can control and that you can fix. See, here's the thing. For example, purposes again. I can't control what other people say or do regarding myself and Dawn on YouTube, right? I can't control what they do, but what I can control is ignoring them, blocking them, hiding them from the channel as well. Right? And just moving on, I can't, that's within my control. So, while we may not have control on certain things, we may have control on similar things in other ways, right? Sometimes the best control we can have is to ignore things, right? Sometimes we have to swallow our pride, especially when we make mistakes. We have to swallow our pride. That's what I do. And like I've mentioned many times in some past videos and streams, I had a hard time doing that when I was younger. I could never admit I was wrong. I had a hard time swallowing my pride. Right now at the age of 50, I swallow my fucking pride all the time. I have no problem doing it because what I've learned is that humility is the best feeling in the world. Being a humble person, humility, and just being understanding to everyone and everything and anything, right? Even the things that most people wouldn't be understanding towards, if you are a person that's just an understanding person in general and has humility at that level, it's the best feeling in the world. Because at that point, again, it doesn't matter what anyone else says about you or thinks about you or does to you. What matters is how you feel about yourself, and you know that you have humility even for people that are coming at you and trying to tear you apart and tear you or bring you down, right? The show I did earlier today on the main channel was about acceptance and forgiveness. It's a great story about how a family forgave someone that caused an accident that killed their father, who was a famous actor. I'm not going to share any more. If you want to check it out, it's on the main channel. G&A, Genuine Personal Development. Tia was there for most of the show, and she saw it. It was a beautiful, beautiful story, right? And if a family can forgive someone that made a driving error that killed their father, there's no reason why anyone or even everyone can have a forgiving heart and forgiving nature in general, right? You know, to me, acceptance and forgiveness is very, very key to living a happy and stress-free life. You got to learn to accept that not everything in life is going to go your way, and not everything in life is perfect. Most things aren't perfect, right? And here's the thing. If I go back even 20, 25 years ago, okay, I would have no clue about specifying this the way I am today or talking about this the way I am today. But I'm hoping that 25 or 30-year-old that used to be me that didn't understand this back then is listening and understands it and learns it. And you become a better and more humble person. And you learn to accept things for what they are and forgive people, right? No matter what, right? Forgive people, right? The reason why I'm at such a level of peace right now, besides Dawn keeping me grounded, and Dawn has kept me grounded. The reason why I'm at such a peaceful level is because I have accepted every situation that surrounds me in my life. And I've also forgiven every person that I feel has wronged me. Now, just because I feel people have wronged me doesn't mean they feel they've wronged me. Doesn't mean that I've actually been wronged. I feel I've been wronged, but that's just how I feel. It's up to each individual to feel what's wrong and what's right, right? All I'm saying is I feel wronged, but at the same time, I've accepted the situation and I've forgiven everyone that I feel has wronged me. And because of that, I've been able to move past things. And I share this for example purposes because it's a great lesson to learn. Just like I was talking about, Sean Cannell earlier, right? With the Nolan Molt story, right? honestly, I think Sean fired Nolan because I think Nolan was starting to get a little antsy and wanted more money, or was just starting to be less productive because he was doing all this great work with Think Media. He was seeing how much he was making Sean's business, and Nolan just got his regular salary doing it. And Nolan's like, okay, I can go do it on my own and make 10 times more. Okay. But also Nolan said he has ADHD, and I don't think he handled the parting of the ways. There's a right and a wrong way to handle that situation. What I would have done, I'll tell you folks what I would have done. So if I was working for Sean Cannell, and I learned everything that Nolan did, and I learned how I can go make my own videos on my own channel and make 10 times the amount of money I think media's paying me, what I would do is I'd go to Sean and say, hey, Sean, I love you, man. I've loved working for you here. But I've learned so much, and I really feel like, continuing to work here, which is a great job, and I thank you for the opportunity. Continuing to work here is going to hold me back from being my own creative. So I want to tender my resignation with a 2-week notice, and I want to know how we can amicably part ways here and still be friends and maybe still collaborate on some stuff down the road. How do we do this that's fair for the both of us, right? And had he approached Sean like that, see, if I was Sean in that situation, I think Sean would handle it the same way. I think what Sean would do is what I'm about to say I would do. I'd say, hey, dude, no worries. Thank you for giving me your 2 weeks. I want you to go and do your own thing and use what you learned here and go provide for your family and become the great creator you're meant to become. I don't want anything from you. I appreciate your work and your dedication and what you've brought to the company. See, when you handle things with humility, you see, when you're respectful to people, when you treat people with respect, right? When you don't come off cocky and arrogant and upset and you're trashing your company, that your company's screwing you over, right? Now, if your company's actually screwing you over, that's a different story. But Sean Cannell wasn't screwing over Nolan. It's just that Nolan outgrew that job. Nolan learned so much that he became more valuable than he was initially. Not saying he wasn't valuable at all, but we all grow. That's what we do here. That's what personal development / self-improvement is. It's improving yourself. Nolan improved himself, and Sean was his coach. I don't care what anyone says. I'll say Coach Sean Cannell coached Nolan to be the man he is today. Tia says, I wanted to clarify that when I said I couldn't forgive someone killed my husband, I meant if it was intentional. That would be hard. If you cannot forgive, you carry all that baggage. Oh, of course. Oh, look, Tia. Anyone that kills intentionally needs to be executed. That's how our system works. In most states, you get the death penalty, or at the very least, you get life in prison. Honestly, in my opinion, I think a harsher sentence is life in prison. If they execute you, they execute you out of your misery, right? But if they keep you in prison for life, that's the ultimate punishment. The problem is that would fill up our jail system and cost our tax dollars even more, right? So the system is never going to be perfect, right? But I get what you're saying, though. And I agree with you. Anyone that's harmed intentionally, I've got no remorse for. But this guy didn't intentionally, kill that actor Treat. His name was Treat Williams, right? And who knows how fast Treat was riding his bike. And Treat probably came up really fast. The 35-year-old man that was making the left turn probably didn't see Treat until he started making the left turn. And Treat probably had gunned it from a quarter mile away. It was just bad timing. And motorcycles are hard to see. But I get what you're saying, though, Tia. Anything done accidentally can be forgiven. Now, if it's purposefully done, different story. Now, for me, even when people do things on purpose, I forgive them. I'll tell you why. Because I have empathy for people, even people that are harmful people. Because the reason why I feel people are harmful, Tia, and anyone else watching this here live or on the replay, the reason why I feel people are harmful is because they're lacking something. They're lacking self-love. They're lacking support from their family or friends. They're lacking happiness. They're lonely and miserable people. How they got that position could be many ways. Maybe they have no more family left. Maybe they have no friends because they don't get along well with people. And a lot of that has to do with how your family raises you, right? Some people have massive character flaws and other mental and emotional issues, right? That make it almost impossible for people to want to associate with them or be around them, right? So it makes these people lonely and miserable, and they have nothing better to do than to trash talk people on YouTube, or in other cases, they might go rob a bank or rob a store. They might murder someone or kill someone intentionally along the way. And I don't condone any of that, but here's the thing. I'm the kind of guy that could still forgive someone like that because that's the kind of person I am. I'm like, okay, hey, look, you know what? I don't know what you're going through that puts you in this position of such deep hurt that you have to hurt someone else, but I feel for you. It's still wrong what you did. I don't condone it, but I forgive you, right? Just think about how powerful telling someone that's done something that bad that you forgive them. It's powerful. Those words have meaning. Tia says, my mother always taught that if God can forgive, you should also. You are not higher than God if you believe. It's a great, great point there, Tia. God forgives everyone. Doesn't matter what they do. Right? And God understands that nobody's perfect and people are going to make mistakes and people go through things. Right? In this modern world we all live in over the last 50, 55 years, and a lot of it has to do with women's living, in my opinion. It's changed the, family dynamics. There are a lot more single moms, single dads, right? A lot more divorces. 60% of people that get married, more than one out of every two marriages will end up in divorce. And again, nothing wrong with women being liberated. It's all good. But everything started to change once women were liberated. The system changed, right? And maybe women have come around to dealing with it, but a lot of men have no clue what's going on, right? And a lot of men nowadays are scared of women because women are out earning them. A lot of women have become emotionally stronger and even physically stronger than men. Like women are rising above men, and men are feeling threatened, and they're feeling scared, and they're bowing down to these types of women, which a lot of women are like that, right? Which makes these men weak, which makes these men unattractive, because women sniffing any amount of weakness out of a man is not attractive, right? So, the world we're living in, like when I was growing up, women were already liberated, but there was still a lot of traditionalism. Like there was still a lot of traditionalism in the 70s and 80s. Things didn't really start to change until the early 90s. That's when the third wave of the women's movement started to kick in. The second wave got the rights and all that. The third wave really started to turn shit around. And, all of this has created where we're at today. And so be it. I accept it. Let me put it to you this way. I've learned to accept it, and I understand the situation, and it is what it is, right? That's something that I can't change. Would I want to change it? Maybe not completely. I think if I had any power to change it, I'd want to change it a little bit. And don't ask me how I want to change it, T, or anyone else, because I don't have the answer right now. How to exactly phrase it. Maybe I'll do that another time. But I don't have the power to change it. So, what are my options? Whine and complain about it, or accept it and be understanding, but at the same time, I still get to choose who my partner is as a woman, right? I'm a man and my partner's a woman. I get to choose who my partner is, and if I feel like Dawn is really well balanced. Yes, she likes the liberation and all that, but she's also traditional too, right? And that's cool. I love that about her, right? But if she was full-blown feminist, I wouldn't be with her. And I encountered a ton of feminists out there that don't even know that they are one. But they behave, like a lot of women will behave like a radical feminist or a feminist, and they don't even know what it is. They don't think they are, right? And then those women end up being single throughout their 20s, and then they get into their mid-30s, they're still single, right? And then their biological clock starts to tick, right? And then they're wondering why they're single. You're single because you're acting like a man, and you want to be in control, and you're acting more masculine. You're exuding more masculine energy than feminine energy, right? And that's not attractive to masculine men. The only guys you're going to get, if you're a woman that's behaving more masculine than feminine, the only guys you're going to get are guys that are beta that behave more feminine than masculine, right? But then how are you going to respect that guy that's weak, right? So you settle for the beta male provider because your biological clock's ticking, and then you can't respect him after a while because you're more manly than he is, so you divorce him 3-4 years later, you take the 1 or 2 kids you had with him and you run. That's the shit that's happening nowadays. It's the truth. No disrespect intended. I'm sorry if you're offended, anyone out there. It's the truth. And this has been years of research and talking with other men and women and interviewing lots of people in the past on my former channels and stuff like that. That's exactly what's going on. Whew, man, it's been a long day. I've been up very early today and doing the other show, and then I was helping Dawn with some things, and throughout the day she was getting up at times, and we had some lunch together. I'm just getting a little tired now. Whew. Whatever's meant to happen will happen. Tia says, I agree. It will get to where people won't want to marry. It's already there, Tia. It's already there. Now, I will marry Dawn. I want to marry Dawn. She wants to marry me. Only reason why we haven't gotten married yet is because we're trying to get our finances in order. And, trying to take care of some other things first that we're not going to talk about publicly. But, most people are really seeing no value in getting married. It's a piece of paper. But, if you're in a relationship, right, and you're the breadwinner, okay? Like, I'm the breadwinner in the relationship with Dawn and I. Now, don't get me wrong. She'll be making some more money at some point soon, or she'll end up being on disability. We're going to figure that out over the next several months, see what her doctors say. But, getting married will give her a sense of stability. And, I want her to have my stuff at some point down the road if my time comes before hers. So marriage pretty much is a legality thing to where, basically you combine your resources and stuff like that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, some guys will argue that and say, well, why would you want a woman to take half your shit? Well, if you love your woman, it doesn't matter. You want to give her half your shit if your time comes. Well, what if she leaves you? Well, if she leaves me, I probably fucking deserve it. So she can take my shit too. A lot of guys don't want to accept responsibility for their own actions, right? They don't. Now, you also have to do a good job of properly vetting your partner and knowing that she really loves you before you marry her. So if you marry the right person, it's all good. And then she ends up leaving you 5-10 years down the road and takes half the combined marital assets during the marriage, then that's your fault. Now, if she does something that is really bad and you leave her, then that's her fault, right? I think people need to do a better job of properly vetting the people they date and they marry. A lot of times people rush into things, and that's where mistakes happen. Only time will tell if two people are meant to be or not. 6 months, a year is not long enough. 2 years? Possibly. 3 years is where I start to say, okay, this is somebody that I don't think is going to fuck me over. And Don and I are almost at the 3-year mark. It's probably going to be at least another year before we get married. So we'll probably be together about 4 years before getting married. You got to properly vet your partners. Then you'll know. You'll just know, and you can't be naive. You gotta, you gotta have half a pea brain to be able to read your partner, because women are very apparent. When they fall out of love with you, they start to act differently. They start to become aloof. They're not as affectionate. they're not really as compassionate or compassionate at all, you can tell the signs. Unless you're just a naive guy that just blows it off because, oh, she's a cute woman and paying attention to me and I can't normally get a woman. No, you got to read the signs. Women are very fucking apparent when they're not into you. It's just sometimes, most guys that are beta and don't understand, can't read woman code and stuff, they don't see the signs that she's not really into you. Or if she's being nice to you, it's because she doesn't want to hurt your feelings and say, no, I'm not interested in you romantically, right? Women will never typically come out and say that, right? They behave a certain way. They behave aloof. And they're standoffish, or they're not affectionate with you, or they're irritated quite often, right? Tia says, if I ever would have divorced, I could never take him for all he's got. I could not do that to someone I once loved. I agree, I get that. But you're not like most women, Tia. You're not like most women. I'm going to come over here and shoot this. Let me see. Yeah, you're not that kind of person. Let me see here. Waiting for a few people to walk on by. Whatever's meant to happen will happen. There's less wind now. The wind subsided. So even if I turned around, maybe not. It just seems like less wind because it's not in my face. It's hitting my back. It's like natural air condition. Feels good. Whatever's meant to happen will happen. In my case, for example purposes, if this business is meant to take off, it'll just happen eventually. If it's not meant to take off, it just won't. And I'll have to decide at some point what I want to do. I'm not ready to pull the plug yet. We'll see what happens. But at the same time, people that have created distractions in my life, online and offline, that try to get in the way of my relationship or my business or whatever, right? All those detractors, right? And distractors, right? Trolls, haters, however you want to call them, right? All those people, the same thing will happen to them. Whatever's meant to happen will happen to them. Good, bad, or indifferent. It might be good, might be bad. It might be indifferent. Who knows? But whatever's meant to be is meant to be. Whatever's meant to happen will happen to you and other people that may be causing you issues. Even the people causing you issues, they're going to be dealing with whatever's meant to happen. And typically, if you're a shit disturber, if you're not the most honest and ethical human being, if you're someone that's harmful to people in any way, shape, or form, typically, what you put out, you get back. So, typically when I say whatever is meant to be will just be, right? Even for those people, typically whatever's meant to be is the negativity they put out is going to come back to them. And a lot of times it comes back at them tenfold, 10 times harder. That's why I've always lived by the rule. Never burn any bridges. I've never burned a bridge. All I've ever done is remove people that are distractions and that are intentionally trying to harm me. Removing people that are intentionally, removing people from your life that are intentionally trying to harm you. There's a lady walking very fast on the other side of the trail. I'm going to wait to see if she's walking off the trail completely so I don't disturb her with my camera. Is she going on the other side of the trail or is she going to walk off? She's probably going to walk off. Sun's starting to go down, but there are some clouds over there. Some other people popping on in. Just a second, waiting for some people to pop on off. People keep are popping on in. People keep popping on in and popping off. Okay, I think we're clear now. Folks, get your final questions, comments, concerns in the chat. We're going to be going off the air very, very soon. Good show today. Very good show. I really enjoyed spending time with you folks. It looks like more and more people want to join the trail right now, so I'm going to wait. A lot of people have been coming on the trail right around. Right now it's about 7:30, 7:45 or so. Razor Edge, weren't you here on another account that's been banned? I'm just kind of wondering. You gonna answer me, Razor Edge? I thought you were banned on your main account. Yeah, wasn't he banned on his main account, Tia? That's funny. Yeah, you know, I would rather have no one here than a lot of the wrong people here. Having a lot of the wrong people here, even if they pay me a little bit of money, is detrimental to my future success of my actual purpose and actual vision and message of what I'm trying to create. Yes, account made 55 seconds ago. Well, good call, Tia. Wow, YouTube now even tells you down to the second how long their account's been active. Wow. Get your final questions, comments, or concerns in the chat. We're going to be going off the air very, very soon. Today was a very productive day. I feel very good. I feel very happy. It's all good. Whatever's meant to be is meant to be. Even revenue for the rest of the month, which is way down. But you know what? I have faith. I have faith that something will pan out before the end of the month. Because one way or another, whenever I've had faith, not only in myself, but faith in others, things always pan out. You know, when you're a little leery about things, there's always faith. I did enjoy this walk. Lots of good thoughts. Well, thank you, Tia. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And thank you to the other 20 plus people that were here, even though you weren't chatting, whether you're banned here or you just are afraid to talk. If you're not banned here, please don't be afraid to talk. No one's going to come after you. No one's going to harass you or anything. But anyway, I got to get going. Love you all. Thank you, Tia, for being here and being supportive. And to everyone else that was watching and commenting. And hello to everyone else behind the scenes from the Coach Eli moderator group and to all the members. Have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.